okay, certain timelines are being reconfigured, and not everybody likes that. And so, as you are really going for your complete and full self liberation, you are changing all kinds of timelines. And you're affecting it. Let me put it this way. So, your consciousness is the matrix. You are the glitch. You become, or you became the glitch in the matrix. And and they don't like that. And so whoever understands what I'm saying, it's for them, this message, and who doesn't understand it, it's not for them. So it doesn't matter. So we no longer, you know, worry about kindergarten, in as far as consciousness goes. So basically, the whole thing is, I don't know who that was, but of course it was serving me. But at the same time, the fun thing was that I don't know why it reminded me of the Matrix when that person was telling me I'm dangerous to the system because I see through the system. And and so it was weird because it was this very interesting thing, like in 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 pretenses, it was so real. It seemed like so real how it was, or he was with me. But when he was kind of getting tired, I don't know, maybe they have a certain time of being aware, and they can focus, like incredible focus. But when his focus was getting lost, he did not get any emotions from me, then he kind of was getting tired. And I've noticed that when he was getting tired, he was telling me really like all those things came through, which was really truly in his subconscious mind. And basically he was telling me, that I should be finished off in that sense. It's very weird. Like on one side, the illusion shows something to you, and in the meantime, you're feeling what's going really on in the background in the astral realm. And so basically my intuition was showing me and giving me the feeling, the signal, that no matter how you feel or think, not feel, because you think, that's your mind, believes in the illusion, what you see with your physical eyes and what you hear with your physical ears, and you start believing what people show to you as a pretentious way. But your ESP, your multidimensional self, of course, can pick up all signals that's going on in the astral realm, whatever it is. And you can feel it, you can sense it. It's like, I'm Pisces. I'm all about sensing things, feeling energy, scanning, realizing what's one is shown to you, and your physical eyes, physical ears can betray you, but in the background you're getting all the information that you need. And so basically it's like incredible because the guy the guy is an interrogator at the police. And the funny thing is, I don't know if maybe certain government officials, or maybe since they are working with criminals and working with people day by day, and so they need this incredible focus. They need this incredible ability, uh, that they can really influence the mind of a criminal, influence the mind of anybody, that they would be very truthful to them. And or maybe voluntarily they have to take on an implant. I don't know, because this felt like, for me, it always felt like he was like this machine kind of like person. It was like kind of like a robot. And it reminded me of the Matrix when they said that the very people whose mind we try to free are basically all of them are like agents. And I was so surprised, at the end of the day when he was really getting tired, and how he was telling me, that I'm dangerous to the system. And basically, and the funny thing was, because my intuition was really picking up on shit previously, that I knew. And I knew that he was jealous of me, he was this, he was that, whatever, all those things, like my intuition was feeding me with all the information. And then in the meantime, in the illusion, it was like this covert narcissist, like being so nice and so calm and so, laid back and relaxed. And at the same time, I could freaking sensing, that he's insecure. He, all those people who need, and they want to overpower people. They take on a job which is like they give them some kind of sense of authority and power. And at the same time, he's playing the other one. And in my dreams it always came that he's not what he's showing you. He's not what he is pretending to be. And so holy crap, like I wonder, it's just a question. I don't know if anybody or somebody has any information or something that they might have some implants that they take on. I'm not saying that whatever, just for the job, but they actually use it for the personal things or whatever. What do I know? I remember when Stephen Greer or Greer, I don't know his name, I don't remember exactly, but when he was coming out with certain things, and there were those forms online which I have filled out. And they were asking about if we sensed something, if we had ever in a dream state or in vision or any time, we had some encounters with extraterrestrials. Do we have signals? Do we get intuition? How is our intuition? How, our extrasensory perception, is that really heightened? And all that stuff. So I filled out a form once, I remember. And the funny thing, that in the back of my head, and at the time it was just like, our ego attachment is so, craving this external gratification. And like you try to validate your own experiences through outside sources or whatever it is for people. And so at the time it was like, okay, um, what if I submit this form, and then it's like maybe all these forms are just there to see who are the people that are really tuned into the Akash, tuned into multidimensionality, they're tuned more into themselves, and they're coming into full spiritual power. And so I understand that not everybody wants the same thing in this world, right? Some people want power over people because they are on a lower dimensional consciousness, lower level of consciousness. So they want to overpower people. And there are those, after a while, you raising your consciousness, you no longer want to overpower people. You no longer want to have power over them. You only want to have yourself back. You only want to self liberate yourself. You only want to step into your own inner power. You don't care about the thing. So I said to him, I said, listen, basically it does not matter, because we are, I mean, of course, in a sense we are danger to the system. We are, because we are the glitch in the matrix. We become the glitch in the matrix. So whoever wants to keep their power, in a sense, this is like an energetic soup, and we're affecting the energetic soup with our consciousness, whether we want it or whether not. It's like whatever everybody puts, whatever ingredients in the collective soup, right? I mean, it's gonna have a change of taste no matter what you do. And so if I put more salt in it, it's gonna be more salt. And if we're gonna have more people that put salt in it, it's gonna be more salty, or it's gonna whatever. Maybe I'm gonna put some spice in it. And and there are like another 100,000 or 200,000 or a million that puts more flavor into the collective. It's gonna taste different. So we're actually recalibrating timelines. And some people don't like that. We, as when I was a spiritual, like traditional spirituality with a lot of dogma, until you really work that off, uh, I thought that everybody wants the same, right? No, not everybody wants the same in that sense. Not everybody wants to grow. Not everybody wants to heal themselves. They just want to stay on their little lower level of consciousness. They don't even realize what they want. They're just so immersed in this illusion that they don't want to free themselves. They think that's freedom, whatever they do. And of course, not everybody sees through all of it. And it's like, they're not above it all. They're not ascended above it all. And they're not looking at it and they just see the whole picture, underneath. No, they are right there, and they're too close to their thing. They're lost in this illusion, and so they cannot see what's behind it, and how, they just don't have the whole full picture. So in that sense, yes, it some people, just want something else, of course, and everybody wants something else. But I'm talking to those who are really they're really coming into their own inner power. They're really solidifying their beingness through this whole thing. And you already had your kundalini awakening. This is very important. And maybe you're going through it. Maybe you already, I mean, if you went through it, you went through and you met your reptilian fear, your reptilian self. Basically, it's your very own beingness unawakened. And you face that, and this is how, I mean, for me, this is how it was. I've been faced with my own freaking fear and doubts and whatever, and they were people there, or they were things who wanted to take my faith away. The funny thing was, when I met this person, after, I was not talking to him anymore. Basically, myself came into my dream, my higher self, and said, Kemet, which is the name for ancient Egypt, and we've been, in relationship. I don't know what kind of relationship, but we've been in that life in some kind of relationship. He was a wounded warrior who was bringing me the feather of Maat, which is a feather of freedom, but emotional, being able to control emotions. And so in that dream, he was giving me that. But at the same time, in my dream, after the whole thing, it was like he wanted to take your self faith away. And even before I did really cut him out of my life, um, I just straight saw it in my dream that he was jealous of me. He was jealous of my consciousness. He was jealous of my self faith in myself, in my knowing, in my soul's truth, being certain. And some people, not consciously, I don't think that they know this consciously, really. It's just the subconscious, that they want to, I don't know, they have an agenda, whatever it is. Maybe they just want you as a girlfriend, and maybe you're so attracted for them because you represent a power, like a force kind of, which is very attractive to them. You're full of light, you're happy, you're all that, you have all this. And they are just those people who just want to have you, but since they harboring a lot of insecurities, a lot of pain and wounds on their own in this life and previous lives and all that, and they did not do the clearing, the purging yet, not in their own soul fragments. And they just, as humans, they still don't know who they are. So they want you because in some way they just feel that you would be beneficial to them. They don't know how you would be beneficial, but since they are in the lower level of consciousness, they only think you would be beneficial to them because you have sex with them, or what do I know? And that's why they want to keep you. They want to marry you, or they want to grab you. They want to own you in a way, which is not love, of course. And so this is possession. And they just, like, their human self just wants you. They know that you would be good for them, but they don't really completely realize subconsciously why it would be good for them. But at the same time, with their little insecurities and with their sub personalities, which is completely fucked up and not cleared yet, and not, polished yet, let me put it this way, they would fuck you up. Because, and it's not really because I don't think it's intentionally, although I never, really guarantee that they have always good intentions. But, I mean, no matter how much you want to be a friend with somebody, if that person is jealous of you, you cannot really be a friend with those people because they will undermine your progress. And Oprah Winfrey was right with that one because I think I read this from her that if somebody wants your life and they're jealous of you because for some reason they know and they kind of feel that you're above them in that sense, meaning not because you ever suggested that you above them, but because you are so bright and you're so full of life and full of vitality, which they cannot maintain on a daily basis because they're depressed, whatever, sad because they went through some hardships, and then they hate everybody at the time. We all been there, I mean, I could see it, and I could even see that. I don't know myself, like 13 years ago, probably I was at the same spot as he is, when I broke up with my ex-partner, and he was just, getting a divorce, got a divorce like a year ago. So he was in a very bad spot. And although we are like this really loving people that we always want to give and love everybody, but at the same time we also have to realize that discernment is a must, and that no matter how good of our intention is, we also have to consider ourselves our number one. And no matter how much you want to help somebody, or assist somebody, you can never do that over the well-beingness of yourself, because that is a mistake on your part. So for us intuitive empath, and really who are really with heightened ESP, it's a very big lesson, when we actually um, get into something like this, and then you kind of always realize it and always feel that something isn't right, and you are getting tuned to the wrong channel, because it's you cannot, like they have to go through certain things, and you cannot teach them, you cannot give them whatever. It's kind of like, it reminded me of my ex relationship, with my ex partner who I lived with for 15 years, and how we got together, and eventually we blamed each other for our weaknesses. Eventually, it's like we both wanted to make the other happy, and nobody got happy because we were not happy on our own. None of us. Well, it's so funny. So no matter how happy you are as a person, and you meet somebody here and are not in the vicinity of your consciousness, uh, you can never take their insecurities away. You can never really free them from their own learning curve, because they have to go through certain things. And although it's very nice and very kind that you know, and respectable, but however, at a certain point, it does not help you progress. So eventually, you have to release the sandbags, release, avoid. Divine feminine does not have to um, interact with just anybody, and does not have to comply with anybody's wishes. And of course, it's the free spirit, it's you who is really important. You are the point. You have to have your focus on self and not onto others, because the moment you give them more energy out of you, which they're unable to reciprocate at the time, you're just gonna deplete yourself. So basically, I also had this burnout, because you just love him so much. You don't know why, but you've been in many lifetimes together. I've seen our past life. And so you see, those are the things. But at the same time, how robotic they seem to us, who are uh, really done a lot of clearing. We really know ourselves, and we really, just kind of um, refining and clearing the debris, and just to make it more. So this time in June, there is a lot of recap. Like you kind of look back into your life, you see all the patterns, which I've always seen. Like, for example, me personally, uh, you know, I seen that whatever partners I had, I always picked those partners up at either when I was at a low point or at a high point. So at a low point, you pick up things and people who think they could influence you, and then they're actually pushing their own agenda. And your high point, you also can pick up stuff like that. So basically, like really disconnected people, which disconnected people I call narcissistic people, because everybody is a narcissist. And then you become this free spirit. So you're on your way to become free spirit, and really release codependency and addiction and all that crap, obsession and whatever. So, and you will release the insecurities and whatever. So as you're coming home to yourself, as you're really approaching your original blueprint, which is like absolute certainty, absolute self acceptance, absolute self love in a free way, right? It's really amazing. And it's very similar. I even had some videos made by me, whatever, like maybe a year ago or 1.5 years ago, where I said, what's the difference between the narcissistic and the free spirit? Because they each kind of have similar traits in a way. That is why a lot of people don't realize that who they call narcissists is actually teaching them how to love themselves better. So they are actually free spirits. But basically, you also can see through their talking how much underneath is not clear yet. And so this is basically, it's of course you're always given uh, yourself the experience that you need, basically, but it is not something that you did not ask for. You always ask for that. Thanks. I'm just closing the door. So basically, you all give yourself um, the experience you need. And although while you are in this so-called experience, it's also, it feels like, kind of like and I even had a dream while I was having these experiences. Like I had a dream about Halloween, and Halloween is all about trick and treat. And this is how I call it. It's not trick or treat, but it's a trick and treat. So basically, the universe and you always call in the experience which you need. Of course, you have a pre um, conceived idea, what it's gonna be, or you think that that's what it is only. But then at the same time, it is here for your growth in a sense. And for me, it was all about activating my Kundalini. And but this I only saw at the end, what, after I passed all that, and eventually I've seen it. So June is all about really recap, see, look back, look at the pattern, and really summarize it. So I made some of my videos, actually, I made it for myself because it's like really a recap on everything, and recap and reset. So basically, it's basically you stand still and really look at your whole life, your whole progress, your whole ascension progress. And also interesting that while I was really dropping my consciousness, because I went into the amnesia, because I had to come home for my last piece. And then now I'm going back on the ascending on the same road, and I'm meeting the same distorted belief systems, while I'm coming up. And it's so interesting because it's actually a funny thing, but I just realized this like 2 3 days ago, that whatever I was taking the road down to my own little hell to pick up my last pieces, right? Because in the primal fury also, it contains the seed of your original blueprint at the same time. So simultaneously, this is the truth, and this is why we cannot see it, because our brain is kind of like in conflict with this thing simultaneously. That's the key word, simultaneously. So simultaneously, everything is a trick and treat, not or. It's not an or either or world. It is a also. It's simultaneously. So it's a very funny thing, but so on your in your ascension process, you actually will need all of that you are. You need your intellect, you need your logic as well, you need the feelings, the ESP, really like starting feeling your body, feeling what you're feeling, and really being able to interpret what you're feeling, and then what it teaches you, what is the message of that feeling. So you will need all of your capabilities and abilities, really bringing it together to really go through this process. And it's just amazing, actually. It's so funny how I come to the same thing. The other thing is like, you know when I was writing down all of that, whatever, for 7 years, my things, my messages, my self essence messages, which my higher self was sending me. And while I was doing that and clearing the mental sphere, um, I knew that twin flame shit was bullshit, because external twin flame is a bullshit. So they're dancing the dance which I have danced already, because in a way, my ex-partner was a twin flame too, because we were both wounded. And we eventually freed ourselves, or at the time we didn't, because we did not understand, because we were blaming each other for not. But whoever I met last year, in that sense, he was also a twin flame. But you see, we are freeing each other through each other, because eventually you're all going to realize that all that stuff is within you. So the energy and the divine feminine energy is all within you. You are your own twin flame, for fuck's sake. And it's so funny how I was like, reading and stuff, and I said, I don't believe in this shit, whatever. That's their radio station. It's not my radio station. That's their frequency. That is the frequency of their level of consciousness. It's not mine. And you see, it's so funny, because we have our own individual path, and we do not belong to the pack, you know. And so some people just keep doing what the others are doing. And I believe and I feel that many of us who hold the code of the divine feminine are really delaying our own happiness by thinking that there is an external flame, you have to whatever. And a lot of us put ourselves back into suffering and struggle and drama and all that shit, because you still believe in this old, fucked up, distorted dream. You all believe in that fucked up shit. So basically, the true twin will kill that last fucked up, distorted fairy tale of illusion in you, because you both realize, hey, I'm happy by me. I don't need another one. I am my own and only, and I love that, and I really enjoy that, and I never ever want to freaking come away from myself. And all this trying to make each other happy. I'm happy on my own. I don't really need anybody. So why would I complicate? And the funny thing is, like, for example, you realize you meet, let's say, somebody, and then you say, you know what, I want to be at the beach. I want to live a free life at the beach. And then he says, I love my job. I don't want to leave my job. So why would you make yourself, any one of you, give up their dreams, and then make some of you, one of you, miserable? Why would you give up your dream, your true dream? Because you have to know what is your true dream. And what your true dream is, not to freaking compromise. That is not a true dream. True dream is never, and true freedom is not compromise. It's like you compromising your self integrity because of another person. Why? Why? I mean, unless you go to the beach and you meet somebody who's in the same level of consciousness as she is, or he is, as complete by herself as you are, and you really, all of you, both of you, can allow each other to be completely free. Okay, maybe sometimes you get together, I don't know, but it's not about any of you giving up any of their own frequency or their own dream or anything. And I don't believe in being with people forever because that is not really possible unless you both can grow at the same pace. But that's hardly the case. It's like you really have to be, it's like, I would say, okay, let's say you are in God consciousness. There is another one who is in God consciousness. Basically, absolutely, you are not on the need level, but you're just okay, happy to maybe sometimes spend some time together. But you both arrived already to your own godhood, and then it's just a matter of enjoying company. That seriously, I'm thinking there is no better partner than a cat. It's like, you don't have to listen to anybody's bullshit because, I mean, come on now, we are never the same. We may have similarities, but maybe sometimes you just don't feel like getting up. Maybe your partner wants to get up. Okay, good if you can both allow each other to be free. But in most of the time, most of the case, this is not what is the case. Eventually, sooner or later, something really like this fucking up is gonna come. And, it's just when you lived through many uh, relationships and maybe just a few serious ones, okay, and you also just realize that basically I never really wanted to be with anybody, but I just thought that was like getting lost in the social conditioning. And actually I always felt good by myself, and I never wanted to get married. I never did. I lived with together, but that was like, whatever, for a reason, certain learning curves. But it's just that, all this is like whatever. So for me, that is not really my truth. Not for me. Thank you so much. So I've danced that dance already, with this crap. And I believe and I feel that the patriarchy is very afraid of the divine feminine to fully awaken. Because when the divine family fully awakens, she knows she does not need a man. And, this is like cutting them off from feminine energy, it seems like. Of course, they all have it in them, but they just did not know how to bring it out. So they need to learn, okay, how to get connected to their own source, because this is why the feminine and the divine feminine has been reduced to a battery, was like really like and we were like, every time I felt that, every time I was high and resonating on a high level, they were flying onto me like, I don't know, mosquitoes and moths and all that. It's like, and that was always pulling me down. It's like, you see, the divine feminine eventually has to realize that she is better on her own, because unless that is another divine person, please don't try to pick up those who are wounded and try to heal them, and whatever. It's like the drowning man. You try to save them and they will pull you down. You have to be able to discern. Plus, it is not about a rule, it's about what you feel true to yourself. So I'm not saying that all women has to be by themselves, not at all, because when they are not on the level of consciousness, when they realize, when they know what their soul is telling them, then they have to follow their stuff, right? So it's not about that. It's not about me telling me anybody what to do whatsoever, because I always say, listen to your own soul. Whatever feels right to you and whatever feels best to you in the moment, that's what you do. And although sometimes you don't see it while you're doing an ESP, then and really always into helping others, eventually you're going to realize that this whole world, the only help that they're ever going to get that is worthy, really, truly, when you help yourself. And with that one, you put the ingredient and the equivalent of frequency into the collective, and energy has no barrier. It's just, your consciousness is the one which will provide it. So we are affecting timelines. And some people don't like that. Some people are really in that sense in the matrix is like an agent, and they see you as a threat. They see you as the enemy. And whatever, they just want to destroy you, whatever the reason, because they're so brainwashed. And especially if they work for a government, they're brainwashed, believe me, because the system needs those people. The system needs those brainwashed people because they are great slaves. You see, so they're working like 16 hours a day, and doing their little thingy, and they just, okay, I have to eliminate these people and that people. And it's and the funny thing is, he always reminded me, even the first time when I met this guy, you know um, um, Spain. Somehow he always reminded me of, as a, when we were judged for our healing purposes, and whatever we were doing in many lifetimes, and then we were thrown to the stake, and we were burned. And it's so funny because basically, it's kind of like that. And what is he doing now? He's an interrogator in the police. So it's so amazing. Um, how you pick up energy, you pick up the feelings of energy, how you sense things. And really just trust yourself, because even if you're not sure, but when you're really still in conflict with mind and with your spiritual beingness, and then the real you is here, is telling you, or she is telling you, and gives you all the stuff from, premonitions and everything, that you can find your way, and but you still don't trust yourself enough. You need a big lesson to be able to trust yourself, really. So it's all for the good, right? It's always love, no matter how it seems and how it looks. But it's a very interesting mixture of seeing the past, which is connected to the present, and then seeing how the present choice creates your future timeline. So whatever choice you make in this now, it has different possibilities and different timelines. So you choosing your own destiny, but always in the present. So so as I say, they are only here uh, for me to choose myself every time. They basically are only here to always choose myself over anyone. So this will be a very hard thing for people who are really attached to families and conditioning and family conditioning and social conditioning and all that stuff. So this is not an easy task for anyone, okay? So if you came here for full self-liberation and really super consciousness, and to really free yourself from all the crap, all the conditioning, the echo of the past, you have taken on a big, big, big task. And of course, it is, while you don't have to worry about anybody, you are actually doing, and automatically the job is done. You automatically serve everything in the universe by you saving yourself, and by you freeing yourself is the greatest gift you can give to humanity, or to the galactic community, or to anyone or anything in this universe. You can call it God, you can call it Prime Creator, you can call it whatever consciousness, infinite consciousness. That's what I call it. And basically, you're doing your job. So as Byron Katie says, and I agree 100% with her. When you work with the one, which is self, you work with it all. So that's it. This is the assistance. Me is the present. I'm giving them my true self back. And that is the greatest gift I can give to anybody or anything in this world, or, you know, universe. So thank you for listening, and try to embrace the process, and really coming into your own inner power. An amazing thing. It really will give you everything you ever dreamed of. So thank you. Bye.